For the longest time, the computer memory market was, well, kind of predictable. It was just this constant cycle of boom and bust. But a new force has come along and completely shattered that old reality. And it's all being driven by AI. So let's dive into this massive shift and figure out what it means for everything from giant data centers all the way down to the phone in your pocket.
Here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll look at how things used to be in the old memory game. Then we'll check out the AI catalyst that changed everything. After that, we'll explore the new prize everyone's fighting for, HBM. We'll see how that's creating a consumer squeeze. And finally, we'll ask the big question, are we in a totally new era for memory?
All right, first up, let's set the stage with the old memory game. And really, it was just a long history of boom and bust.
So, have you ever wondered about this? Why the price of RAM for your PC would just swing so wildly? One year it's super cheap, the next the price is practically doubled. Well, it turns out there was a very clear reason for that whole roller coaster ride. It was a classic commodity cycle. Simple as that. When demand was high, all the manufacturers would ramp up production like crazy. But then, you guessed it, they'd make way too much. The market would get flooded with memory chips, prices would totally plummet, and companies would lose a ton of money until the whole cycle started right back up again. It was a simple, but pretty brutal rhythm.
But that rhythm, it's been absolutely shattered by what we're calling the AI catalyst. And we're not talking about a small ripple here. This is more like a $400 billion tsunami. Just take a second and look at that number, $400 billion. The scale of it is almost hard to wrap your head around. And here's what's so wild. That's not the total value of the whole market. No, that is just the estimated spending from the big tech players on their AI infrastructure for a single year. That colossal wave of cash is exactly what broke the old cycle for good.
So where is all that money going? Well, it's definitely not being spent on the same old memory chips. It's chasing a brand new prize, something called HBM. It's the specific type of memory that AI absolutely craves.
So what exactly is high bandwidth memory? Well, the clue is right there in the name, high bandwidth. See, instead of putting memory chips side by side on a board like we used to, HBM stacks them vertically, one right on top of the other. This design creates this incredibly wide, incredibly fast data superhighway that connects directly to the AI processor. Now, this is probably the best way to think about it. Traditional memory, DRAM, that's like the local roads in your town. Yeah, they get the job done for everyday tasks. HBM, on the other hand, that's a massive, multi-lane superhighway with no speed limit. And it's built for one purpose, to feed the massive data appetite of AI models as fast as humanly possible. And the technology that makes these memory skyscrapers possible is it's incredible. It's a technique called hybrid bonding. It involves polishing silicon wafers to an almost atomic level of flatness, zapping them with plasma, and then pressing them together with such insane precision that billions of direct copper-to-copper connections just form. This is the secret sauce to stacking these chips higher and making them faster than ever before. Okay, so the top of the market is chasing this amazing new tech. But what does this AI gold rush mean for the rest of us? Well, that's where we get to the consumer squeeze, a ripple effect that's about to hit all of our gadgets. And look, this isn't some far-off problem. An industry research firm called TrendForce is already forecasting some pretty serious price hikes for the standard memory in our devices. We're talking a potential 30% jump for DRAM. That's the main memory in your computer, and a 10% hike for NAND, which is the storage in your phone. And that's in just one quarter. So the big question is why? Well, it's pretty simple, really. The big three memory makers, SK hynix, Samsung, and Micron, they're shifting their best, most profitable production lines over to making HBM for their huge AI clients. It's just good business. But the knock-on effect is that it creates a supply crunch for the regular memory that we all use. And when supply gets tight, prices go up. And this whole trend is just picking up speed. According to research from Gartner, by 2025, almost half of all new PCs being shipped are going to be AI PCs, with specialized hardware that's also going to demand more and faster memory. So it creates this feedback loop, putting even more pressure on the consumer supply chain.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. This quote from TrendForce really says it all. The squeeze is so real that they are already revising their sales forecast for future smartphones and laptops downward, and they're pointing directly at rising memory prices as the cause. So this all brings us to our final section and the big question. Are we actually in a new era for memory? I mean, the old boom and bust cycle, it seems to be broken. But what exactly has replaced it?
And this is where things get really, really interesting. On one hand, you have every manufacturer rushing to build HBM, which means analysts are seeing a risk of oversupply, with prices maybe even dropping in 2026. But, and here's the crazy twist, because of that intense focus on HBM, the supply of standard consumer memory, like DDR5, is going to get so tight that its profitability could actually surpass the fancy AI memory. It's a fascinating paradox.
So, this is the new puzzle we have to solve. That massive sustained demand from AI has created a stable price floor, basically ending those old wild commodity swings. But what we have in its place is a new kind of tug of war between the specialized, high-profit AI market and the regular consumer market that's now facing a supply crunch. And that leaves us right here with this final question. There is no doubt that AI has completely shattered the old, predictable memory market. That boom and bust cycle is a thing of the past. But has it just been replaced by a new game with way more complex rules and maybe an even more unpredictable outcome? That's the billion-dollar question that everyone in the industry is trying to answer right now.